Colorado's Central City Opera Company is the second oldest summer company in the U.S. Only the Chautauqua Opera in New York has a longer history. Since 1932, Central City has had a core mission to present traditional works in imaginative productions, and it has a dedicated following of opera lovers. But in recent years, the company has also worked to introduce what they do to new audiences. It became Central City with the first rush of gold and silver seekers to the west circa 1849. A few years later, the mining camp had grown up, and the rich citizens of this Colorado mountain town got together to build a place for entertainment and culture, a real sign of civilization. 50 years later, after extensive restoration, today's Central City Opera Company was born in the summer of 1932, when the legendary actress Lillian Gish starred in Camille and launched the tradition of annual summer festivals.
What they wanted when I came here was to create some of the energy and excitement around this festival that they'd had in the beginning.
Pat Pierce has led the opera company for 20 years through a diverse repertoire of traditional and progressive works. And he presided over the 2001 premiere of a new opera that made Central City a modern player.
The vehicle for that was the first American production of Benjamin Britten's Gloriana that was written for Elizabeth II's coronation in the 50s, but was about Elizabeth I. It allowed us to thrust ourselves back into the movers and shakers in the industry.
That reputation is burnished by the Bonfils-Stanton Artist Training Program, a national model of classes and performance that allows new artists to start their careers.
It was founded in the 1970s by John Moriarty. It's a really rigorous program, I would say. I think all the young artists would agree with that. They do classes in the morning in movement and stage combat and diction and how to audition well and properly.
We're the ushers. The summer festival is comprised of some of the best singers available anywhere during a summer, as well as these great young artist programs, which all of those young artists form the chorus. You have the greatest choruses in the world at the time. For instance, this summer we're pretty much doing Tosca because we had two former young artists who were available for two of the three leads. Alexandra Lucian, who was a young artist with us for 2 years, about 6-7 years ago. We decided to plan Tosca around her. Mike Mays, who sings the evil Baron Scarpia, same thing with him. He was a young artist here in 2000. He was on a real great trajectory for a young artist, and then he became a bona fide principal artist, and we just needed to find the right vehicle to have him back. We're thrilled to have him here for his very first Scarpia. Now that he's done his first Scarpia and will have done 9 of them, that's a real feather in his cap, and he'll be able to do Scarpias anywhere now.
New electronic projections enliven the background of the scenes, and it is this kind of innovation that Central City uses to refresh the classics, perform rare or new pieces, and even to take one-act operas on the road, reaching out to new audiences around Colorado.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can also take your tickets at this door.
The frontier for Pat Pierce and the opera company now is changing business trends.
For opera, and I would venture to say this is all the performing arts. When I started in this business 30 years ago, everyone basically expected that 50% of your revenue was box office and 50% was contributed. That pendulum has swung to now 80-20, 80% fundraised, 20% box office, and let's just think about it. We've gone through a major recession. The cost of doing business continues to rise every year.
We're already in pre-planning for the next season. So a lot of it's about the schedule and who are we going to hire and who's coming back that we love, who's on staff, and contracting obviously designers, directors, all of that in advance so that they have sufficient time to do their process.
Building on its star-studded history, Central City is preparing for the future with continuous community engagement, opera education for young audiences, highly professional standards, and awe for the art form itself.
Probably one of my favorite times up here was in 2010 when we did his piece called 3 Decembers, which only has 3 characters in it. It is just this gut-wrenching piece that everyone who was there was changed by it, and everyone who was in it was changed by it.
To then stand around and look at those billboards and think, okay, I have something to live up to.
People came here originally looking for ore, gold, and their fortune, but people to this day come here, and unlike other parts of the country, you are free to do whatever you as an individual can accomplish here.